Hey there, everyone. Carson here. I just got a big package full of comics from Partners and Son in Philadelphia. They're a really cool store that focuses on small press and indie books. I had just ordered a bunch of stuff that I had chosen, what I wanted from them. And in talking to, I believe I'm talking to Gina, the wife of the two partners, um, through Instagram, had said, "Hey, let's do this cool thing. I got an idea for the channel where I'll just give you like a budget, so like $100, and then you send me whatever, like give me a grab bag, and then I'll do a review of them, and then in a month or two, I'll throw you another $100 and we'll do another grab bag." And the idea is I want to get exposed to stuff that I don't know about, especially small press stuff. I want to find new artists that deserve attention and things like that. B, I think it's kind of interesting to see how a shop will adjust to customers' taste. So we're going into this pretty much with the expectation that I'm probably really not going to like some of the stuff that I get, and I will like some of the stuff that I get. And so I'm going to do 3 videos out of this batch of books that I got, where I'll kind of do a short review of each book, and then I'll break that into 3 chunks, which is like I really didn't like these. These ones were all right, but I liked the art, but I didn't like the story. I liked the story, but I didn't like the art. That kind of thing. And then the ones that I thought were really good all the way through. I don't like assigning numbers like 1 to 10 to things, but I think in this case, not even from a review standpoint, because we're like playing this game between me and Partners and Son to see if they can figure out my taste. So I think it will be helpful for them if I give like a number. So even if I'm saying, oh yeah, out of this batch I like something, like maybe only like 7 or 8s in this batch, nothing that came through was a 10. So there's going to be a series of 3 videos. For this first one, I'm going to cover the ones that I didn't like, and then we'll build up to the ones that I really like. So I'll show the book, and then I'll pop back in and give my rating for each one. Hopefully this is fun for people. Hopefully you see some stuff that you want to get a hold of. It may not even be stuff that I like, but it looks good to you. So that's part of what this is too, just trying to help expose small press people. Book Jerk by Sarah McGrath. Okay, this one I'm going to have to just say I don't find anything about it enjoyable or entertaining at all. This is when me and Sean talk about memoir, diary comics to, I don't want to say this one's to the lunatic extreme, but just to the completely navel gazing extreme of like just a diary that shouldn't be put out in public. That's what this comic is to me. One page where we get some nice art where the artist is tracing, I think. But most of the time, I can barely look at the art. The lettering is like super dense and all over the place. There's even this page here where she's talking about Kurt Cobain's journals getting published after he dies, and she's saying, "Oh, I own a copy. He makes comics, but it does feel private and wrong that she can get his journals after he's dead." Yeah, it's private and wrong. Like that shouldn't be published. I get it. He's a historical figure. But then also, if anyone published my journals posthumely, kidding, sorry. So it's like, oh, I'd be so embarrassed if people read my journal, but here's my journal comic, and it's like Saturday, Sunday. I don't know, man. I know this is a genre people like, but I don't like it. I mean, it could be done well, I'm sure, but your life ain't that interesting. Like when we talked about Mouse, it's like if your dad went through Auschwitz, that's an interesting memoir. If you're just some random person sitting around that works at a bookstore, and you can't really draw or letter or design very well either, then I don't know what, like, if this were amazing drawings, at least I could enjoy it for that. And then this page here talking about being a worker at a bookstore. The artist says, "I am not exaggerating when I say that if I am not liked, loved, and celebrated by all, I will die." And that doesn't feel like an exaggeration. That to me feels like what this type of comic is just kind of mentally unhealthy cry for attention to feel important and special, but none of the stories imply that anything interesting or special has happened. And I've read a number of comics like this. So I don't know. I mean, my apologies to Sarah McGrath, but this just ain't my type of comic. I know there's a whole subgenre for it if you're into this type of thing. So, Book Jerk by Sarah McGrath. Sorry, I gotta give it a 1. Didn't like the art, didn't like the writing, not into diary comics, wasn't well put together, just not my type of thing. Burl's Cryery, 24 sheet wide ruled 1 subject notebook. Selection from Burl Dirkman's Crying Journal. So, obviously, I was skeptical about this one going in. I'm not big into journaling comics. I'm definitely not big into people just journaling about why they're crying. The art in this one's good. Like, simple. You know, it's not a book I would have just for the art. That's for sure. But it's clear and legible. But then when I look at it, it's made by Brett Hamill and more Burl. Burl Dirkman seems to be a character on Twitter. And then that makes it interesting to me because it's not a diary. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe this is Brett Hamill's opinions on things and actual experiences, but it's filtered through a character. So there's at least the hope to me that this is all made up. And I do believe some of it is. So then there's more power in it to me of like someone being able to come up with all these different situations that made this guy cry and this kind of overreactive character in my opinion. I mean, it's being presented as like, hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with crying. There's something from the Tao Te Ching in there. So just one of the examples of like the absurd things that will make Burl cry. Tuesday, I was hanging out with old guys at the corner store. Johnny told us about a squirrel named Kip Kip that he raised from a baby. One day it bit off half his eyebrow and ran away forever. Later that day I saw a squirrel on a fence. Was it Kip Kip? It tilted an eyebrow at me and ran off. That's when I cried. So things like that. Again, because of the square formatting and because of the like for more Burl, go to Twitter. I'm assuming that these are released on Twitter like as like 6 that you can swipe. So in that format, I think it would be enjoyable to check in. As a book that you read through just a bunch of stories about this guy crying, you know, I don't think that's especially interesting as a collection. Just read it on Twitter. And then me personally, like, whether the artist actually thinks that, you know, crying is good or whether they're making fun of this character or whatever, like, I don't know. I just don't find the premise particularly compelling. Some of them are funny. It's, you know, like I said, I do really enjoy the idea of someone having to come up with this many different scenarios that would make someone cry. Like, a lot of times when I look at stuff, I don't enjoy it as a reader, but I can enjoy it from like the creative challenge that the artist has given themselves. Like, I would enjoy doing this, I think. I would enjoy coming up with the scenarios, but not particularly compelling to read. But I do think that it would be a fun thing to check in like once a day, and just to see how many different situations this artist can come up with. Burl's Cryery by Brett Hamill. It's like a 3. Again, not really my thing. Better art. Story, it's like if it's made up, I kind of like it. Better production, but again, you know, I don't think there was much meat there. I was really excited when I saw this book, North Star by Tom Herpich, in the stack of books that was sent over. Because we've looked at Tom Herpich before on a Formalism Friday, Brandon was showing us one of his pieces. And the art on the cover and the cover design is so nice. It's by At House Books, who does a lot of good stuff. But I just wasn't into this book. You can see on the front it's split into North Star and Pilgrims. And what that means is there's poems and there's illustrations. And as far as I could tell, they're only like tangentially related. I'm sure in Herpich's mind, like they're pilgrims going towards the North Star. but they didn't seem very specifically related to the poem on any page. So I like the art. I don't get it as a product. I don't understand it as a finished product. Like this one here, reading the poem People and comparing it to the illustration. The poem's titled People. The charged, cold-smelling, white, broken, straight-backed blue was people, and the red silhouette twisting, burnt black and gold bright green, still split open, bright blue was their words hanging in the air. But the pearlescent sword was the pearlescent sword without analog, likewise the whiff of brimstone it necessitated, and the starlight clearing lastly revealed. And it's so like descriptive of color and stuff, and then you get like this black and white drawing of a bird. I don't know. I'm not a big poetry guy either. There's some comics as poems that I've seen lately. Hugh Nguyen, who I hopefully will be talking to, or maybe will have already talked to by the time these videos come out, is doing these poetic comics that I really like. But straight up poetry with this vague language and this vague relationship to the images. I don't know. It's a well-made book, not my thing. I would like to be able to say, at least if I think the artist succeeded pulling off what they were attempting to pull off, but this kind of stuff is so opaque to me that I can't even make a guess at that. That's my own failing as someone who doesn't read poetry. So I guess if you're into poetry, then maybe this book is, could be very powerful, but I don't even have a way to assess it, basically. These last two pages where it actually becomes narrative are great, like in terms of design. So I don't know. I'll have to check out. I'll have to find whatever Brandon had or see more stuff by Herpich. I don't know if this is standard for him or if this is like a odd piece. North Star by Tom Herpich. I don't know that I can give it a star because it's just so far out of the realm of what I even know how to assess that I can't really put it. It's just like it's poetry. I don't have anything to say about it really. Not my thing. North Star by Tom Herpich. I don't even know how to assign a star to that one. It's just so far out of the realm of my interests that I don't know how to evaluate it. I don't think it's bad. I just don't really read poetry and books that it's like poetry and an image. It's just not my realm. So I'm going to pass judgment on that one, or I'm going to pass making a judgment on that one. So those are the only three that I really put in like the not like that's totally not for me category. So that's this video. Tomorrow I'll post the video of things that, I enjoyed parts of them, but I didn't enjoy others. So check back in. Thanks for joining me for today's review. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash